we had a normal parade in 2003, something happened on Thanksgiving Day 2004 in New York City. Remember back in 2002 it was one of the coldest parades being at 27 degrees? Well, how about 64 degrees for 2004? Yep, one of the warmest Thanksgivings in New York City. Not only that, but we also got a couple of moments that occurred. The first and only time that the crocodile hunter Steve Irwin would appear, Tom Turkey returns after a year off, and for the balloons, Axe Jeeves returns with a new do on his suit as well as a tan, a balloon contest occurred, and it will mark the first ever parade balloonicals with the Weebles, Tibby, Tooey, and Bumpus, and the first ever square balloon with the one and only SpongeBob SquarePants, and he would be a yearly favorite from this year onwards. Also, there were even some jokes.
The founding fathers, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Benjamin Franklin, and Brad Lackman, three wise and great Americans joining in this most American of holidays.
And even three inflatable elephants paying homage to the real elephants in the very first Macy's parade 80 years ago. And finally, we got a total of 24 songs here. This is my ranking of the songs from the 2004 Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Number 24, Fun 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 by the cast of Broadway's Good Vibrations. I will say that 2004 was not the best year for the Broadway choices. This is not because of tough competition, but the songs are very weak this year. And we begin with a preview of the Beach Boys jukebox musical Good Vibrations, with the second number of the musical being performed with Fun Fun Fun. This musical does fit well for this year's parade because of the temperature, as I just mentioned, and the tone of the song works. It's just having it in a Broadway stage doesn't. Not surprisingly on how harshly mixed the musical was, from what I see here for this number, it is supposed to be our lead character describing this girl, which is kind of dressed inappropriate for a general television audience special. And I keep forgetting the lyrics, except for the fun, fun, fun. I don't know the lyrics of the rest of the song. Not to mention know where to find the soundtrack or the cast album digitally. But I will give it credit for symbolizing the NBC logo with the surfboards at the end. Number 23. I Am a Girl Like You by the cast of Barbie as the Princess and the Pauper. Sort of. When it comes to direct-to-DVD movies, one of those I remembered that were coming out in stores during the 2000s was Barbie as some sort of princess. In 2004, the fourth installment of these movies was Barbie as the Princess and the Pauper, where two girls named Erica and Princess Annalise switched places. And before they did, when they met each other, they performed the number, I Am a Girl Like You. Like the performance of Anastasia back in 1997, the characters come to life in the parade instead of getting their singing voices, Julie Stevens and Melissa Lyons respectively. Now in the number, in the movie, it's odd without much in the background, but keep in mind this was in the time of direct-to-DVD movies and when computer animation was not that perfect yet. The parade performance feels just quiet with the two here. The song in general is not that bad, but I think there should have been more of an, not upbeat, but more like a longer musical number. Oh, by the way, there is one reason why you need to watch this movie, because the villain is voiced by Martin Short. Number 22, Shakalaka Baby by the cast of Broadway's Bombay Dreams. A story about Bollywood goes to the West End in 2002 and produced by Andrew Lloyd Webber, comes to Broadway in 2004. The A.R. Rahman musical brings the culture of India to the stage with the musical Bombay Dreams, and brings us to the parade the sixth number, Shakalaka Baby. I will give it has a catchy main verse by using the title of the song itself, but I really don't know the synopsis of the number itself, because the musical had an interesting production change when it came to Broadway. And also for the soundtrack, it's the 2002 cast recording, which is not available on iTunes, and no Broadway version soundtrack of this musical. For the parade, I think the costumes wasn't really a standout, especially on the ladies, no offense, other than the main verse, like fun, 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 Shakalaka Baby is also pretty forgettable. Number 21, Holla Back by Nina Skye. Twin sisters Nicole and Natalie Albino from Puerto Rico made their self-titled debut album this year called Nina Skye, which included their big hit Move Your Body. For the parade, they performed the 13th track of their album, Holla Back. The album has received mixed reviews, and I feel mixed with this song. Great tone and the upbeat of the song, the lyrics not the best. They did bring a great parade performance, and ironically, the highlight of the performance was not them, it was these inflatable rhinos on the float that were dancing to the beat, and the time of the parade worked better than the song itself. Number 20, Walk Like an Egyptian by Jeff Timmons. 98 Degrees star Jeff Timmons went on a solo career after the band broke up for a few years, and Timmons brings a parade-exclusive performance of the Bangles hit Walk Like an Egyptian with the kids at Camp Broadway. I love this rendition because I kind of get sick of listening to the original version on the radio, and some days I keep thinking of more of this version by Timmons more so than the original. The downgrade is that it's in a parade exclusive, and it's not even on Timmons' album Whispered That Way as a bonus track, because I really want to hear them do a full version of this song. And Camp Broadway were great backup singers than they were in the previous 2 years. So I will Walk Like an Egyptian with Tutstein, even though I never watched the show when it was on Discovery Kids. Number 19, Beat of Your Heart by Hayley Westendra. At age 17, a teen singer from New Zealand named Hayley Westendra released her first international album outside of her home country with Pure. And the song choice was Beat of Your Heart, which is also track number 10 for the US release of the album. I will say she sings beautifully here, and I can see someone might shed a tear while listening to the song. Only catch is when I was listening to it, the song feels quick. The opening instrumental part felt slow, and the parade performance is questioning on some of the lyrics that she performed. I'm also kind of mixed here, not to mention no way to find this song digitally. I will find my strains, but my heart is not beating emotionally to this song as I want to. Number 18, Wonderful Town Swing by the cast of Broadway's Wonderful Town featuring Brooke Shields. 50 years after the original production in 1953, the musical Wonderful Town came back to Broadway in 2003, with one of the stars being Donna Murphy as the unlucky sister from Ohio, Ruth, as the third number of Act 2 was performed with Swing, or as is called in the revival according to the soundtrack, Wonderful Town Swing. However, Donna had already left the show, and her first replacement was none other than Brooke Shields. Now, the number itself is 5 minutes, and I'm kind of mixed with both the one on the soundtrack with Murphy and the parade version with Shields. Not a fan of Murphy's voice on what she did for her character, and a quite jazzy version in the parade, but I love the tone and the music in the soundtrack, and I think Brooke Shields sounds a better performance than Murphy just on the number alone. Because with Shields, her performance fits well with the character, kind of like how she did when she took over Rosie O'Donnell's role as Betty Rizzo in Broadway's Grease when she did perform with the cast back in the 1994 parade. Now, if you want a great replacement for a musical with a snooty character, Brooke Shields would be the actress to choose, and do a Wonderful Town Swing shows you why. Number 17, Voyage to Adventure by the Royal Caribbean Production Singers and Dancers. Yes, it's time to go on a voyage to adventure with the production singers and dancers of the Royal Caribbean Cruise this holiday season. With this enthusiasm of the song, it makes us want to go into one of their cruises and go exciting places. Well, not for me, especially during this pandemic. Now, is it just me, or does the singers and the dancers' costumes are odd, or how they all sound similar to each other? I get it's part of their job, I'm just saying here. And this is a parade exclusive, and one of the only times they performed at the parade, the other being the next episode we're going to be looking at. And it is the best out of the two, but I wish there was more lyrics to prove me why I want to go to a Royal Caribbean cruise. Number 16, Love Me Tender and Burning Love by the cast of Broadway's All Shook Up. It's interesting that we're in the movie award season, and the biopic Elvis has been nominated for a couple of awards, including Best Actor for Austin Butler as the King of Rock himself. But we're not talking about the movie, we're talking about the musical that combines the music of Elvis Presley and the work of William Shakespeare with All Shook Up. And we have a preview performance with two of the numbers, the solo Love Me Tender and the ensemble finale Burning Love, with the two stars Jen Jean-Baptiste and Cheyenne Jackson. Now I have to start with the parade performance because it was out first before the soundtrack was out. And I love the Love Me Tender solo, but not big on the Burning Love number. In the soundtrack it's the opposite. Burning Love has a better version, and Love Me Tender was not a standout. At least this soundtrack is available digitally. Because of this being a preview performance before the soundtrack was out, I can't take points off of its parade performance, and I will remember Jen's performance of Love Me Tender. So, is this a hunk of Burning Love for me? Not this musical though, but it does hold the best Broadway performance of 2004. Number 15, When a Child is Born by Andrea Bocelli. The multi-talented Italian blind tenor Andrea Bocelli released his 10th album that month, with his first name being used as the title, Andrea. In its North American release, the album came with one other track, not counting the bonus track, is his rendition of When a Child is Born as track number 12, and the sign language group World of Children joins with Andrea for his performance. This rendition is alright. I enjoyed the build-up from the beginning to the great ending, but it's one of those songs I keep thinking it's about to end. And honestly, the parade performance was forgettable, mainly because they only did the opening verse and the ending instead of doing another verse of the song. And World of Children didn't have a moment other than nearing the end, but we had a wide shot of them on the float. All across Macy's department store, I would say there are other songs about the true meaning of Christmas that are better. Number 14, Backflip by Raven-Symoné. Last year was Lizzie McGuire star Hilary Duff, now the star of Disney Channel's That's So Raven, Raven-Symoné, who appeared in the parade as a young Cosby Show star in the early 90s, now a Disney Channel star, who now has her third album, This Is My Time, and her second track got a single release, Backflip. Once again, we got another album that has been mixed by critics, but one of the positives would definitely be Backflip. A song basically about a girl who wants her boyfriend to do better, and respect her instead of himself for once. The music video really shows that. It's not one of those breakup songs like So Yesterday from the last episode. It's just to improve your love and to understand why you need to respect the person you love if the person's not loving you back. And you need to fix what you screwed up. For the parade, they only used the first 90 seconds of the song, which I think is fine, but I wish they would have done the end portion. If there is one thing I need to do if I have a girlfriend, make sure I backflip my time to focus on her. Number 13, I Don't Want to Be by Gavin DeGraw. If you have seen the show One Tree Hill, you might know the theme song to the show, and that is this song being track number 9, I Don't Want to Be, from Gavin DeGraw's debut album, Chariot. Yep, this song was performed at the parade, and I gotta say, I do enjoy this song, even though I never watched the show. And once again, I keep thinking it's about to end when it goes to the main verse, but the parade performance does have a better pacing of the song on the ending. As Gavin said it best, I don't want to be other than me. Number 12, Jingle Bells by Bare Naked Ladies. Well known for their hit One Week, the crazy Canadian band Bare Naked Ladies released their first holiday album with Bare Naked for the Holidays, as their now former lead singer Stephen Page leads the group's performance of their crazy rendition of the first track of their album, Jingle Bells. I loved how crazy they went with this. Not the typical Jingle Bells you would hear on the radio. It starts calm and relaxing for about 1 minute and 45 seconds, and after a long piano play, that's when they get jumpy. It feels like a jump scare when they go upbeat with the song, and out of the famous Jingle Bells, Batman smells, Robin laying an egg, And also, during a portion of singing the main verse, Steven was losing his breath, and the other members had to sing the next verse before the final verse. The parade didn't have the craziness when they performed it. Yes, on the American Insurance float it was going up and down, but those portions I mentioned of this rendition were not here. Also, what's with this guy on the piano wearing a cape when they don't mention Batman here? If you're tired of the same old style you hear on the radio, Bare Naked Ladies would bring you a slaying song tonight with this rendition. Number 11, Free to Dream by Deborah Voigt. 3 years after the attacks on September 11, 2001, the Statue of Liberty was reopened for tourists back in August. And in honor of one of our iconic symbols in the United States, an original song was made to pay tribute to Our Lady with Free to Dream. Soprano Deborah Voigt joins with 50 members of the USSBA All-State Color Guard for this magnificent tribute. I consider this a better tribute than the Bob Hope tribute last year. Only catch, I really wish the tribute was longer. Now this song does have a full version that was used on one of William Skidmore's musicals called, coincidentally enough, Free to Dream with Anne Hampton Callaway as the performer. But I wish Skidmore had had a recorded version with Voigt on his SoundCloud page. It's just, Voigt's voice really works for this moment. As Lady Liberty brings a smile, even though she can't, of choosing the right soprano to pay tribute to her. Number 10, It's Cold Brrr by the cast of Barney and Friends. For our Purple Dinosaurs final Macy's Parade performance, Barney along with Baby Bop and BJ are joined by a polar bear to perform one of the songs that's seen in the video Barney's Colorful World Alive. It's cold. Brrr. And it does feel cold here in the Keystone State, although it's not right now on this recording January 6, 2023. But wait a minute, the parade was warm, not cold. However, I actually like this song. And like Christmas is our favorite time of year from the 1999 parade, the song was entirely performed. But once again, none of the 4 kids from that video were not here in the parade. However, their absence was not a problem here, because both versions from their video and the parade have different vocal tones. That's saying such when it comes to the beginning. I also think the choreography for both were kind of even, if I would combine them both. Also, the soundtrack to the video is on Spotify, but none of the songs are available. The snow will never melt away on how we get sub-zero temperatures during the season of winter, and Barney brought us a conclusion performance in the Macy's Parade. Number 9, I Could Use a Hero by Baron Straight. In their last 3 years, Russian country band Baron Straight officially had their first self-titled debut album and performed track number 6, I Could Use a Hero. I really do enjoy the tone of the music here because it doesn't feel like your typical country song. It feels more gentle for the lyrics. Especially this song is about heroes, not just police, firefighters, or medical officials, but anyone can be a hero if you need help. Now, I know that talking about something positive from Russia is not a perfect timing in today because of the ongoing Russian-Ukrainian war. I understand that. And yes, I do support Ukraine here. And President Zelensky is definitely a hero. And not the communist dictator Putin. For the parade, I do think they did do a good one using the song on well, by using the beginning. So yeah, I could use a hero, especially how things will go for 2023. Number 8, You Ain't Down Home by Julie Roberts. And no, not Julia Roberts, Julie Roberts, a country singer who would be the first celebrity roster for this year's parade, as she performs her cover of Jan Brown's 1989 song, You Ain't Down Home, which is the first track of her debut self-titled album. When I first listened to the song years ago, I wasn't big on it. Years later, I have appreciated this version more. Only issue is I still have the middle portion into the ending, but that's it. The beginning portion, her voice, and the tone of the song works. Even the parade performance I thought was good on doing the first 80 seconds of the song. On a high-tech telephone, I don't got a problem with this cover, especially Tom Turkey is back after a year of an absence. Number 7, Feliz Navidad by Jose Feliciano. Here's a Christmas song that you have heard on the radio so many times during the Christmas season, and Jose Feliciano, another blind singer for this year's parade, brings us his 1970 classic from his title album, Feliz Navidad. Do I even need to talk about this song? Well, the only thing is, I keep forgetting how many times he says the song, which is 3 times, but I keep thinking it's 4. For the parade, the music and the audio is different, which is understandable because you can't use the audio from the 70s, so you have to re-record it, even if everyone always lip syncs in the parade. But I do enjoy this version of Jose singing I Want to Wish You a Merry Christmas, and ironically only says Feliz Navidad part, the beginning portion of the song, once for the main verse of the song. So I do want to wish 2004 a Merry Christmas from the bottom of my heart by bringing this classic to the Macy's parade. Number 6, Something That Santa Claus Left Behind by Peter Cetera. After leaving the group Chicago in 1985, bass player and vocalist Peter Cetera went on a solo career, and in 2004 he would release his 8th and final studio album, You Just Gotta Love Christmas. And one of the 3 original songs he wrote for the album was track number 11, Something That Santa Claus Left Behind, as he concludes the celebrity roster for this year's parade. For me, this was a song I remembered the lyrics to, because it's one of my favorite Christmas songs, and one of the best that I want to listen to on the radio, but it never does. I only wish. Because on how magical about this song really works is the moral of the story of the song that we don't even know what Santa Claus left behind. And it's the second emotional song for the parade if you listen to the entirety of the song, because there is one that's more emotional. I was assuming with me loving this song, I thought this was going to be number 1. But the parade performance was an issue. Because it's noticeable when they edit the song, you can tell. And it's not a highlight for me when you watch the performances in the parade comparing to our top 5. Ironically, I was planning to do a cover for this past Christmas, but my asthma kicked up during the week before Christmas, so I missed it. So hopefully Christmas of 2023, or next Christmas season, as I would say this in this January 6th recording. I will still love this song when it comes to the holiday season, and it is a great conclusion for what would be what I like to call the soundtrack to the 2004 parade. Number 5, I Believe by Fantasia. The tradition still continues with the Season 3 winner of American Idol, Fantasia Barrino, gets to perform in the Macy's parade and wear one of the U.S. Olympics winning medals as she performs her debut single that would be track number 13 on her debut album Free Yourself, I Believe. Another album that has received mixed reviews by critics, but high praises for I Believe. Yes, this song is 5 minutes, but her voice makes us show the power she has, and you can understand why she won Season 3, because it is about believing in yourself. The parade performance I thought was good on how she had the second verse, and the finally, I believe. And something that you get at the end that you don't get in the soundtrack when she says, I said I believe. And also how expressive she was in that performance, and all the Olympians respecting her performance by enjoying it. I dreamt 100,000 dreams before, and realizing that a moment will arrive that I will believe in this song when an amazing thing happens to me. Number 4, True by Ryan Cabrera. Well known for his iconic hairstyle, Ryan Cabrera at age 22 released his second and first major studio album, Take It All Away, with track number 3 that got a single release, True. Another calm, relaxing love song that some of the lyrics is easy to remember, other than some pacing issues because you don't know the right timing of the song to sing to yourself. I mean, when I listen to this, I feel like I'm in the 2000s, and perfectly fits during that time period, a solo teen male artist about love that's not a boy band. And the parade performance is fine, maybe a little bit longer, but you got to save time. I've waited all my life to cross this line to only thing that is true when it comes to this song, that this song really feels true as a song in the 2000s. Number 3, Living in a Rainbow by High Five. 4 years after being big in Australia, High Five comes to the United States with their American cast that aired on Discovery Kids that ran for 2 seasons with 70 episodes. And I did watch this show in a couple of school weeks during the Discovery Kids' Ready, Set, Learn block, as Kimmy, Carla, Curtis, Jennifer, my favorite, and Sean performs one of their songs in the show that's also in the Jump and Jive with High Five as track number 5 in the American album, Living in a Rainbow. As I mentioned with Something That Santa Claus Left Behind, it was my song that I remembered the lyrics to. But this is the easiest song to remember the lyrics to the most, especially in how they describe the colors and how catchy it is. For the parade, my only critiques are they're wearing their Christmas outfits instead of the color outfits they wear for the song on the show itself. They didn't do Curtis's part, flying through the red, diving in the blue, sliding down the yellow to be next to you. And with them being on Discovery Kids, why couldn't they be on the Touchstein float? I mean, the float they were in was the Crazy Critters float that was only 2 floats behind Touchstein. With them in that float or not, it is so great that the High Five I know, although short-lived, had an experience to perform in the Big Apple live. Number 2, Spirited of America by America Sings. 2004 would mark the final appearance of John Jacobson's singing choir, America Sings. And what better to conclude the journey is by having them in the parade in their red, white, and blue. They bring us an epic performance with Spirit of America. I still think their Celebrate America performance from 2001 is their best performance, but this is a close second. More than 650 performers from across the country come together on why America is such a patriotic country. The lyrics and the vocals are amazing, and I actually love the pacing of the song and the placement of where they were at in the parade, because when they perform, you're getting the feeling of the parade coming closer to the end, especially Santa is almost at Herald Square, especially the ending when announcer Joel Goddard is saying on who's coming up. So thank you, John Jacobson, for your 4 years of service on bringing an epic conclusion of your journey with America Sings in the Macy's Parade. And my number 1 song from the 2004 Macy's Parade is The Street We Live On by the cast of Sesame Street. 2004 marked the 35th anniversary of Sesame Street, and in honor of the show's anniversary, Sesame Workshop sponsored a brand new float that features our familiar buildings that we all know on Sesame Street, and it's still going on to this day. And the cast and Muppets performed their anniversary song from the title special, which is also the season 35 premiere, The Street We Live On. Now, I know this song is not available in any digital platforms, but what makes this number 1 is it gives us an emotional impact to not just the show, but the parade as well. In the special, the cast celebrates why they love their home for 35 years now, even if some of them were not in day 1 of the show, but over 4,000 episodes. That's saying something. And for the parade, although a little different, it makes you feel like the cast is welcoming you to the most famous street and join for their adventures and learn with them for years to come. And since not also that this song was nominated for a Primetime Emmy Award, but this is the only time Al Rooker would ever get to talk about the Sesame Street float, since they're usually at the beginning of the parade and not nearing the end when Al is at Herald Square, makes The Street We Live On the best song of 2004. And also, rest in peace to Bob McGrath. Thank you guys for watching. If you liked this episode, you can hit that subscribe button and comment down below your personal ranking on these 24 songs. Next up, we go into a year that did cause some high winds, which there was an accident with one of the balloons. Also, one of the hosts last year covering the parade, but a year I'm not looking forward to because of the song roster. As we go into a year I might have been introduced me to the Macy's Parade, 2005.